You're listening to the Betoota Advocate's weekly news wrap on Desert Rock FM 96.5. Welcome back to the Betoota Advocate Weekly News Bulletin, and what an interesting time to be alive. There's a lot going on in the world. We've completely forgotten about the coronavirus, and we are now launching into a full-scale war on the other side of the planet, of course, but the ripples will be felt here. I'm Clancy Overell, editor of the Betoota Advocate.
And I'm Errol Parker.
And I am Wendell Hussey.
Thanks for joining us.
How are you all going?
Good, mate. Good, mate.
Relatively
Good,
pretty
mate.
well, hey?
There's a lot of value on world markets at the moment. Tell you what, you'd be absolutely spewing if you're stretching your ass to pay a mortgage in Sydney. I mean, I think those prices are going to be going up. There's going to be a lot of people in cheap suits doing the breakdowns under bendy buses around the country, I tell you what.
Interesting times ahead. What have we got in the news?
Well, we've got a story from a couple of days ago which still remains as relevant today. And the headline on it reads, "Report, can you please settle down, bro?"
Yes, this was a statement that was issued a few days ago by the whole world and directed at Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. It was a message that obviously wasn't heeded. It is still as pertinent now, though, given everyone would probably be happy to see Russia just back it up, woo up a little bit, and maybe not start World War III.
That's right, and I'd just like to take this moment to echo the sentiments of many social media influencers around the world and send a message to Russian leader Vladimir Putin saying, please call off this invasion, Vladimir.
As the rest of the world said in this report, come on, brah, take a look at yourself. This isn't you. Let it go. Not worth it. Well, let's go for a walk, get a feed or something.
Yeah, please, just drop it, Vladimir. Now, there is a little bit of positive news. The people of Ukraine have been relieved to learn that they have the support of some of the world's greatest minds.
Yeah, as most people are acutely aware now, Russia's decision to recognise the independence of two separatist states of Luhansk and Donetsk in eastern Ukraine has resulted in a full-blown war. But it's not all bad news, because the Ukrainians have some pretty heavy hitters in their corner.
Yes, we're talking about sleepy Joe Biden, an ageing geriatric who mistook his 79th birthday for his 58th birthday. We're talking about Boris Johnson, who parties during lockdowns and openly bragged about shaking hands with COVID-19 patients in 2020, just 4 days before finding himself strapped to a ventilator in St Thomas Hospital ICU ward. And we're talking about the man who stares into a welding flare and starts trade wars, our very own Scott Morrison.
Oh, hang on. He who has not stared at the forbidden welding light cast the first stone.
We will touch on that forbidden light a little bit down the track. But yes, some pretty good men to have in your corner as you walk into a life and death situation. Now, staying on that front of assistance to Ukraine, our nation that took 10 years to roll out a copper wire NBN has kindly offered cyber warfare support to Ukraine.
It might not be military support in the face of an avalanche of Russian soldiers, but it's something. And Ukraine is singing Australia's praises after our kind offer of assistance in the face of unbridled adversity.
Yes, as you've probably heard, these future wars are going to involve a real online element. And the proud owner of the 61st fastest broadband service in the world, we've offered cyber warfare support to Ukraine to help them fight against Russia.
Just really need it not to rain on the big days when it's all ticking off. Speaking exclusively to The Advocate this morning, Foreign Minister Marise Payne said that our crack cyber warfare department, which consists solely of a spotty 24-year-old kid named Felix, has been dispatched and they are on the way over there now.
Marise Payne, you really are the thinking man's Pauline.
Indeed. Now, some federal politics news, and the Prime Minister's office has revealed that his snazzy new sunglasses are actually a fashion statement and are definitely not a medical device.
Yes, the Prime Minister's office released a statement on Monday morning after Scott Morrison was spotted wearing some futuristic-looking sunglasses to the beach just days after exposing his retinas to a welding flash.
Yeah, his staff has claimed that it's a daggy dad look rather than a measure to combat the effects of looking at the so-called forbidden light. As his office said, and I quote, Mr. Morrison is simply unfussed about fashion, and he has more things to worry about, such as running the economy and making sure all Australians have a job. Welding is a fine trade, and Mr. Morrison is very good at it. The video circulating of the Prime Minister welding with no eye protection is fake. It was created by the enemies of the state, and its origins are now being traced.
There you go. Finishing up with some sports news, something a little bit lighter now to round out the week. And the NRL has politely declined the West Tigers' request to be granted 5 captains' challenges a game.
Yes, the Sydney-based rugby league team that has a mortgage on the 9th place of the ladder has raised eyebrows this week by appointing 5 players in their leadership group, instead of just picking one captain like everyone else does, which is probably a fair indication of how underwhelming things are down in Tiger Town.
And while they are entitled to do just that, they've been laughed out of the office by NRL boss Peter V'landys, who said that just because they've got half the team picked as captain doesn't mean they get half a team's worth of captain challenges for refereeing errors. They just get one, just like everyone else.
Yeah, apparently he said to the boss of the West Tigers, "Who do you think you are? Special treatment? You're not the Sydney Roosters, mate. Get out of here."
No, if only they still had a leagues club, mate, maybe people would start taking them seriously.
Yeah, I think they've got the Ashfield Leagues.
Doesn't count, mate.
Doesn't count?
Doesn't
Fair
count.
enough.
They don't need to worry about refereeing errors. They just need to focus on themselves.
Mate, as our friends at Hello Sports say, they are a dirty merger club, so, having an Ashfield RSL is not.
Who's dirtier, St George or West Tigers, in your opinion?
St George's is the filthiest team in the NRL. They're an abomination.
Don't think you'll find many arguing with you about that.
No.
Anyway, that's where we'll leave it for this week. Hopefully we come back to you with better news in a week's time. Talk soon.
Hooroo!
I don't think we will.